There are moments in life that arrive without ceremony, quiet, unassuming seconds that unexpectedly unfold into something unforgettable. And on a cold, rain-swept afternoon inside a crowded cafe, humming with the sound of footsteps, clattering mugs, and dripping umbrellas, one such moment began. The storm outside pressed against the windows, turning the city into a watercolor of blurred lights and gray silhouettes. People rushed in urgently, shaking off their coats, searching for any open seat. The atmosphere was hurried, impersonal, until she appeared at the doorway, shivering slightly as she paused to steady herself. If you believe in kindness and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Loom. Her name was Lyra, a woman in her mid-30s with weary eyes and rain-darkened hair that clung to her cheeks. She leaned heavily on a pair of crutches, her prosthetic legs shifting carefully beneath her as she scanned the crowded cafe. Her clothes were soaked, her shoulders tense, and her expression carried a quiet, exhausted dignity, one that suggested she had endured far more than the day's storm. What caught attention, slowly and subtly, was not her prosthetic nor her trembling hands, but the unmistakable loneliness in her face. She needed a seat, she needed a breath, and yet, as she moved between tables, individuals glanced at her, only to look away just as quickly, pretending not to notice, pretending they had no space, pretending their world was too full to let hers in. Until she reached the table of Evan, a single father in his early 40s, who sat with his two children, Nadia and Rowan, both quietly observant. Unlike the others, they did not avert their eyes. They watched her with open curiosity and gentle concern, sensing the weight she carried. With a voice soft but steady, Leora asked, "May I sit here?" Evan felt something inside him shift. Life had tested him deeply. He had lost his wife to an unexpected illness 4 years earlier, leaving him to raise his children alone while managing long hours at the repair shop. He recognized exhaustion because he lived with it, but Leora's exhaustion was deeper, etched into her posture, her eyes, her silence. He slid his chair aside and motioned for her to settle. Leora hesitated, embarrassment flushing across her rain-cooled cheeks, but the sincerity in Evan's expression anchored her long enough to finally sit. As she lowered herself into the seat, she exhaled with the kind of relief that comes only when pain has been silently endured for far too long. Up close, Evan noticed the small, telling details: the frayed edge of her jacket sleeve, the faint red marks on her palms from the crutches, the tremor in her chin as she tried to suppress her discomfort. Nadia offered her a shy, warm smile, which Leora returned with a fragile gratitude, as though kindness was something rare enough to savor carefully. Moments passed before her story slowly revealed itself. Leora explained that she had lost her leg many years earlier in an accident that had reshaped her entire life. She had grown accustomed to managing on her own, to pushing through pain because there were bills to pay, responsibilities to meet, and no space to appear vulnerable. But today, after a long shift and an even longer walk when her prosthetic began to rub painfully, she found herself overwhelmed, caught between physical strain and emotional fatigue. Her voice wavered, not with self-pity, but with the simple truth of someone who had been strong for too long. Evan felt a tightness in his chest, recognizing in her the same quiet endurance he himself had carried after losing his wife. The cafe lighting softened around them, forming a gentle cocoon of warmth that contrasted sharply with the storm outside. Without fanfare, Evan rose and returned moments later with a hot sandwich and a steaming cup of cocoa. He placed them in front of her with deliberate care. Leora froze as though uncertain whether she was permitted such generosity. When Evan offered a reassuring nod, her expression softened into something tender and vulnerable. She ate slowly as though savoring not just the warmth of the meal, but the warmth of being noticed. Nadia and Rowan soon engaged her in light conversation, asking about the weather, complimenting the designs on her crutches, and asking if she worked nearby. Each answer Leora gave peeled back another layer of guardedness. She spoke of her job, her resilience, and the quiet struggles she rarely voiced. For the first time that day, she allowed herself to breathe. As she finished her meal, her composure faltered. She confessed quietly that she dreaded returning home, not because it was unsafe, but because she lived alone. No one would know how far she had walked in pain, how long she had been struggling, or how exhausted she had become. She carried everything herself every day without ever asking for help. Evan's heart ached. She was not asking for sympathy. She simply wanted someone to see her, to truly see her. He offered to drive her home. Leora blinked, stunned by the offer. Her eyes glistened, reflecting both disbelief and a deep, long-suppressed gratitude. As they stepped outside, the rain had softened into a mist. Evan held the door for her, and in that simple act, something inside her cracked. She whispered that no one had done such a thing for her in years. On the drive, the children spoke gently with her, filling the car with warmth instead of silence. When they reached her modest apartment building, Leora's breath hitched. She turned to Evan, her eyes shimmering with tears, not of sadness, but of release. She told him that his small kindness, his simple yes, had meant more than he could measure. Evan embraced her gently, offering reassurance that kindness still thrives, even in a world that often moves too quickly to notice the weary. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Tell us in the comments which moment of this story moved you the most, and where are you from watching? We will appreciate you.